Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for checking out my video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I've got an unboxing video, got a yo-yo here to open up, and this one is super special. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that while I unbox the yo-yo, talk a little bit about the story behind it and what makes it so special to me. Before I do that, got a letter here from the person who sent me this yo-yo. My good friend Cliff has sent me this yo-yo, and he sent me this letter, and it's really a good thing that he did, because what is in here are response pads. And if you're new to yo-yo, you may not know what these are, because back in the day, this is what they used for response, to get a responsive yo-yo to come back. They do these little stickers, kind of see there, little stickers that you'd stick on the inside of the yo-yo, kind of around the axle, and that would cause the yo-yo to bind and to come back up as you tugged on the string. Kind of back before unresponsive days, back in like the, early 2000s, before we got to yo-yos that you had to bind unresponsive yo-yos. So there's a note here. Nice. Thanks, Cliff. Just saying that if I needed any more, that let him know. And so I really appreciate that, because I went looking through the garage for some of my old stuff. I found some old yo-yos, and I'll talk about those here in a minute as well. But I could not find any sticker response pads. So inside this box, what everybody's here for, the main event. This is a yo-yo that is super, super important to me. So when I was a kid, I'll start off with a story. When I was a kid, my grandpa was the one who kind of facilitated my learning how to yo-yo. He was a huge supporter of it. He was the one who took me to the first yo-yo meetup, and then would take me every month to the yo-yo club. And it was around the early 2000s. I know in 2005, we went to Australia, not related to yo-yo, but I remember yo-yoing at that point. So, I've been yo-yoing for well over 20 years, 21 years at this point. And there have been a lot of different yo-yos that I've had throughout that time, and most of them came from my grandpa. He was a big fan of Spintastics, the group of Dale Oliver and Val Oliver, who ran Spintastics. They ran a local club for a lot of the kids in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That club actually still meets. They meet at the Grapevine Library, and it's pretty awesome. And so he got us a bunch of different yo-yos. And the first yo-yo I remember kind of learning some string tricks on was the Tiger Shark. This is not my original Tiger Shark. This one is maybe one of my brothers, or one newer one. I'm not real sure. But this was the first yo-yo that I learned how to do like trapeze on. And maybe double or nothing, a couple other tricks. And after that, I quickly moved to the Maelstrom. Now, this yo-yo is my original Maelstrom. This one went to Australia with me. It's been all over. You can kind of see there the axle is a little bit bent. It's been well loved, well played. And I've had it for years and years and years and years. There was one other yo-yo that really meant a lot to me when I was a kid, and that was the Buzz-On Menehune. I probably couldn't have pronounced it correctly when I was a kid, but that yo-yo meant a lot to me, because one Saturday after Yo-Yo Club, on the way back home, we were driving back, and I think we had been to a couple contests at this point, and so I knew a little bit more about yo-yos. I knew a little bit more about some other brands, and I wanted to kind of branch out and try something a little bit new, because up until that point, all of my yo-yos were like this. They were plastic, and this has a little bit of weight kind of behind the caps, but it's still plastic, very, very much a plastic yo-yo without a ton of power. And one of the yo-yos that I'd heard about was Buzz-On. And Buzz-On at the time actually had a shop there in Texas. And I don't know if it was just our area, if it's a common thing with yo-yo, but a lot of these shops and a lot of the contests would actually partner with like Yu-Gi-Oh! And card games and stuff like that, so that they could host big events. And so we were driving back from club one Saturday, and we stopped at Wendy's to go eat. And I asked my grandpa to take us over to the Buzz-On shop that wasn't real far away, because I wanted to pick up a yo-yo. And so we drove over there, and we kind of looked around the shop for a minute. I asked, hey, do you guys have any yo-yos, for sale? Can I buy a yo-yo? I really want to buy a Buzz-On yo-yo. Don't really care which one. I want to pick up a Buzz-On yo-yo so I have something new, something a little bit different. And they kind of looked around and said, well, the only ones we have are these that are being made for this guy playing in the card game tournament right now. My grandpa was like, well, I don't want to stick around and wait for them to make another one. Because at the time, buzz-ons were actually being made in the shop. They would take the metal rings, they would cut them, they would glue them into the yo-yo somehow. And so they were actually being made there in the shop. And so these had special side caps. They were real special just for this person playing this card game. And the guys at the shop said, well, hold on, let's go ask the guy these are being made for. And so they went over and they asked him, they said, hey, this kid, he's got to go, but he really wants to pick up a yo-yo. Do you mind if we just sell him the ones that we're making for you, and then we'll make you some more since you're going to be here playing the card game tournament? And he said that was no problem at all. And so I picked up 2 Buzz-On yo-yos, 2 Menehunes at that point. And those yo-yos had such a big impact on me. Since I was a kid, really there were 3 yo-yos that had this kind of impact until I got to kind of the unresponsive era. Then I've got a couple more from Spintastics as well that had a big impact. But those were obviously the Tiger Shark, learning my first string tricks, the Maelstrom, really kind of advancing my skills, being able to do 2 or 3 tricks at a time, and that Menehune. And the Menehune got lost when my parents moved up here to Missouri. Both of them somehow in the move just vanished. And I've been looking and looking for them ever since. That's been about 15 years ago now. And so I've been looking and looking for them ever since and never could find them. Well, I reached out to some people, let them know I've been looking for a Menehune. I posted about it online. And the other day, Cliff tagged me on Discord and said, hey, which Buzz-On were you looking for? And I didn't know kind of why he was asking that. I figured that he must have seen some for sale somewhere. Well, he found a Buzz-On Menehune. And so that is what should be inside this box. So long story short, what is in here now should be another Buzz-On Menehune. It's my first time seeing one in like 15 years, and I'm so excited. So excited to get it out, to play it, to try it out, and just to see if it's everything I remember it being. It's obviously going to play totally different than anything that we have nowadays, but it kind of bridges that gap between older yo-yos and newer yo-yos, because Buzz-On was really doing some cool stuff at the time. Oh my gosh. It looks exactly like I remember it. So the only difference between this one and the one that I had custom little sides. These are just kind of paper. It's kind of jammed in there behind the ring. But this is the yo-yo. Check that out. See if we can get the camera to focus. Look at how beautiful that is. That nice kind of marbling on the plastic. Such a cool look. Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, and I remember it feeling quite a bit wider. Yeah, you can kind of see there. It's quite a bit wider than the Maelstrom. And so I remember thinking like it was just so much easier to catch tricks. And then these stainless steel rings in here. These rings are just like a piece of a pipe they would cut in the shop, if I'm not mistaken. They would cut a piece of this pipe and then fit it right inside there. And it had this really cool response system. I'll show you guys here. I think maybe a few different yo-yos had this. But yeah, see, it's got the Buzz-On emblem there, patent pending. You can kind of see it there. And this system would actually house the bearing as well as the response pad. So you put your response pad on there, and then you could put it in different size bearings just based on which of these little washers you had inside there. So it's a really cool system. It looks like this one is set up for C size bearing. So we're going to go ahead, because this response pad is, well, no, it's got some rubber on it. That's good. All right, we're going to go ahead and try it out. Pop that back in here. Man, this is so cool. So cool. Such a long axle on this thing too. That's crazy. There we go. All right, I should have thought of this, but I'm going to have to grab a string, so I'll be right back. Okay. Let's get this thing stringed up and let's play it. It's honestly super, super difficult to overstate how excited I am to play this yo-yo. I know like my appearance doesn't come across super energetic, but I am so, like, the emotions going on right now are kind of crazy, because like this yo-yo is just something from my childhood that I kind of thought I'd never see again. Man, It weighs, I need to get the scale out and weigh it, because like the weight feels so good compared to like yo-yos at that time, being that so many of the ones that I had were plastic, because metal yo-yos were just really, really expensive and kind of difficult to come by. One Drop was getting started, but there really weren't that many metal yo-yos available, not at least at a reasonable price where, you know, a kid who barely has $30 to his name can afford. Oh man, that feels good. That's crazy. So with the C bearing, you can basically play it unresponsive while still using response pads. I see, when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure the ones that I had like a A bearing or like a D bearing. Oh yeah, that's awesome. I remember getting the gyroscopic flop so well. Yeah, and so like I was playing it very much in responsive form, but playing it in unresponsive form feels even better. That's so cool. Half these tricks that I'm doing now, I couldn't have done back then. And so it's crazy that now I'm doing tricks that I couldn't even imagine doing at the time, because they would have seemed way out of reach for me on the same yo-yo that I had as a kid. Wow. I mean, back then I was kind of maxing out with a cool Rock the Baby with a little bit of a round the world action there. Maybe like a gyroscopic flop. Some Eli hops, I was doing those a lot. Man. This yo-yo is going to live with me and never move out of my sight for so long. This is incredible. Wow. Again, I know I don't like appear super emotional, but honestly, it means so much to me to have this yo-yo again, to be able to hold it, to play it. It just reminds me of those memories of my grandpa, and all the time spent yo-yoing, the time spent going to club, the time spent going to different competitions, learning new tricks. And so having this yo-yo again is just really, really incredible. Thank you so much, Cliff. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to smash the subscribe button. I'm planning to do some more videos on this channel soon. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Keep learning new things.